Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Beartci Synchro archetype. They've already got a lot of their boss monsters and a bunch of cards already set up. And it's actually a really strange way to synchro summon. And on top of that, we've got more cards coming out in Lightning Overdrive. We now have the Light card for the Charmer archetype. And on top of that, we've got a new fusion monster. But anyways, we got a lot of stuff to cover, so let's go ahead and hop right into it. So the first thing I want to take a look at is the new Beartci theme from Ancient Guardians. So let's go ahead and get started. So it's pretty much a synchro, I would almost consider an anti-meta archetype. But anyways, let's get started with the first card over here, which is the Beartci Nipomo over here, and it is a level 7 water beast effect monster with 700 attack and 2000 defense points. And it says that you can only use each of this card's name first and second effects once per turn. So the first effect is during the main phase. As a quick effect, you get to tribute one other level 7 or higher monster in your hand to special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except monsters that have a level. Basically what that means is you're not going to be going for C's or Link summons. And then the second part of it says if this card is special summoned, you get to add one Beartci monster from your deck to your hand except for Beartci Nipomo. So next up for the archetype, we have the Beartci over here, and it is a level 7 water beast effect monster with 700 attack and 1700 defense points. And it says you can only use each of this card's names first and second effects once per turn. The first effect is during the main phase. As a quick effect, you contribute one other level 7 or higher monster in your hand to special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except monsters that have a level. The second part is if this card is special summoned, you get to target a Beartci monster in your graveyard except for Beartci and add it back to your hand. And then next we have the Beartci Nipomo over here, and it is a level 7 water beast effect monster with 700 attack and 1400 defense points. In fact, most of their stats don't matter because you're using them as synchro material. And it says that you can only use each of this card's name first and second effects once per turn. The first effect is during the main phase. As a quick effect, you contribute one other level 7 or higher monster in your hand and special summon this card from your hand. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for monsters that have a level. This is what I'm just going to call the Beartci effect now, because in fact there's a lot of cards in the archetype that have the exact same effect, so this way it's not like redundant. So I'll mention that one last time here. So this is like the Beartci summon effect is what we'll call it. The second part of it says if this card is special summoned, you get to special summon one Beartci monster from your hand, which obviously will be proccing some of their effects when they do get a special summon. Next up though, we have the Beartci Nipomo. This is a level 8 water beast warrior tuner. So it's a level 8 and a tuner, which is insane. Effect monster with 2500 attack and 700 defense points. And it says you can only use each of this card's name first and second effects once per turn. So it has the Beartci where you can quick effect tribute 7 or higher, and then you can only go for monsters that has a level. Then the second part of it says if this card is special summoned while you control another Beartci monster, you get to target one spell/trap your opponent controls and destroy it. Next up though, we have the Beartci over here. Is level 8 water beast warrior tuner effect monster, 2400 attack and 700 defense points. And it says you can only use each effect of this card's name first and second effects once per turn. So the Beartci summon tribute, and then you can only go for monsters that has level. And then if this card is special summoned while you control another Beartci monster, you can target one face up monster your opponent controls and change it to face down defense position. So that also kind of negates an effect in a sense, and since it does have that quick effect, remember you can be more reactive during either player's turn, which is quite nice. Next up though, we have the Beartci Nipomo. This is a level 8 water beast warrior tuner effect monster with 2800 attack and 700 defense points, and then you can use each of this card's name first and second effects once per turn. So the first effect is the Beartci summon effect, and then we have as a second effect, if this card is special summoned while you control another Beartci monster, you get to target one card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. So we have a little bit of utility. We got spell, we got flipping something face down, and then also being able to banish a card in the graveyard. And then next up, their first Synchro that we're going to be taking a look at, which is actually level 1, which it'll make sense in a second. So this is Beartci Polari, and is going to be a level 1 Water Beast Synchro effect monster with 700 attack and 1000 defense points. And it says it cannot be Synchro summoned. It must be special summoned from your extra deck by sending 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner you control whose levels differ by 1 to the graveyard. And it says that you can only use each of this card's name first and second effects once per turn. So the first part of it says if this card is special summon, you get to activate 1 Beartci Big Dipper directly from your deck. And we'll get into that in a second. And then the second part of the effect is you contribute 1 level 7 or higher monster and add it to your hand, or special summon 1 Beartci monster from your graveyard, so bringing out kind of whatever you need, which is kind of cool over there. But I want to go over this effect before we get into the other cards, because this card is obviously going to be something that you're going to think about. Don't worry, we won't skip over the other cards. But the Beartci Big Dipper is a field spell card that says once per turn, if you would tribute a monster to activate a Beartci monster's effect, you can banish a level 7 or higher Beartci monster from your graveyard instead. The second part of it says each time a monster or monsters is special summoned, you get to place 1 counter on this card. That includes both players. That's the important part with this. And then once per turn, if a monster or monster is special summoned, you can remove all counters from this card, minimum 7, then target 1 monster your opponent controls and take control of it. You can only activate this effect while there is a Beartci Synchro monster on the field. So obviously that'll be pretty easy, because once you go for the card, you'll have access to this card instantly. So this part is not really a problem at all. So what you would ideally do is you will go ahead and summon another like 2 or 3 monsters, and then you'll have some cards already on it, so when your opponent tries to make plays, you'll be able to disrupt them, not only by maybe flipping their monster face down, but with this effect as well, because this is, if a monster is special summoned, then you get to activate that effect. So I'm pretty sure that you can use that during either player's turn, because it's when the monster is summoned. But anyways, let's go on with the rest of the cards. So that's the Polari. When you're able to add the Big Dipper, that's what it does. So next up, we have the Septon Tryon over here. This is their one boss synchro monster. So it's a level 7 water beast synchro effect monster, 3000 attack. So this one actually has good stats and 700 defense points. And it says it cannot be synchro summoned. It must be special summoned from your extract by sending 1 level 8 or higher tuner and 1 non-tuner synchro monster you control whose levels differ by 7 to the graveyard. So it's not going to be the easiest thing to make with just like 1 or 2 cards. You're going to have to kind of use a lot of cards to make it, but the effect is actually pretty good. So it says you can only use this card's name second effect once per turn. So the first effect is amazing. The effects of all face-up monsters special summoned from the extract that have no level are negated. So one thing important with this is this will go ahead and allow you to protect, because I was just thinking, oh, you can just go Nightmare Phoenix, pop the card, and you're a-okay. Why would, you know, this archetype have even a chance? But no, because it stops all of the extracts from being able to be active. And remember, you're gonna snatch steal potentially from your opponent. And then on top of that, if your opponent special summons a monster, you get to add a Beartci card from your deck to your hand, and that is like a once per turn. If not, that'd be insane. But remember, since they are quick effects, that does allow you to go for very specific things, so it's not like this is very difficult to activate and potentially make a monster go face down, adding another disruption to your play. So you can negate everything from the extra deck that doesn't have a level. Then on top of that, you have, I would say, a good chance at least 1 effect to be able to disrupt either flipping a monster face down, because that's more likely the one that's more active. You can pop a back row too, but that's the one I think people will usually go for, is flipping something face down that your opponent has. And then on top of that, we have the Grand Chariot. This is a level 7 Water Beast Warrior Synchro effect monster, 2700 attack, 700 defense points, and it also cannot be synchro summoned. It must be special summoned from the extract by sending 1 level 8 or higher tuner and 1 non-tuner synchro monster you control whose level differ by 7 to the graveyard. And if this card is special summoned, it's not synchro summoned, this is important. You can target up to 2 other cards in the field and destroy them. So if you happen to bring this card back via other means, that could be actually a pretty decent effect. And then also once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets a Beartci cards you control, as a quick effect, you contribute 1 monster from your hand or field to negate the activation. I really wish this also destroyed the card card, usually it kind of helps out, you know, to be able to get that bonus with it to really make the archetype look like it has a standing chance. But I still think it might be a sleeper deck that some people might find some use out of. And then we already went over the Beartci Big Dipper effect. And then next up we have the Beartci Slider. This is a quick play spell card that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You can target one of your Beartci monsters that is banished or in your graveyard, and you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, except for monsters that have a level. I'll also special summon that target, but it cannot attack and it's destroyed in the end phase, but you'll just use it more likely as a stepping stone to go ahead and make your other plays. It's still, what's really nice with this, it can't attack, but that doesn't really matter. If you're able to go ahead and bring back one of your like powerful monsters, that could be really, really good because it doesn't stop that effect from maybe being active. So I like it for that. Next up, we have the Beartci Quint Charge. This is a continuous trap card that says once per turn you get to pay 700 life points to activate one of these effects. So you get to add a Beartci monster from your graveyard to your hand, because again, a lot of the stuff will go relatively fast. So that's kind of nice to have some recovery. And you can also tribute 2 Beartci monsters, and if you do, special summon 1 Beartci monster from your extra deck whose level equals the difference between those monsters' levels, ignoring its summoning conditions. And then the second part is when your Beartci Synchro monster is destroyed by battle with an opponent's attacking monster, you can have your opponent shuffle cards from their hand, field, and graveyard into the deck until they have a total of 7. Now, I thought this was a really weird effect. It's kind of conditional. Like, obviously, it has to be a Synchro monster. It has to be destroyed by battle. But most people will just start sending cards from their graveyard back so then they can keep their field in hand. But it might actually hurt some people, you know, if they go for like, you know, grass turn 1, if that card comes back, that could be really insane. But for the most part, I'm not sure how live this effect will actually be. Obviously, this is an amazing effect, and this is a cool effect for the archetype as well. And then also there's Ayers Rock Sunrise as a little reprint over there. But we've got 2 more cards to cover. So next up we have the Lyna, the Light Charmer, the Shining. So this is the artwork on her. I love all the Charmer's artwork, and it's probably going to have that prismatic rare as well. So Link 2 Light Spellcaster Link Effect Monster, attack 1850. The Link's zones are going to be in the bottom left, bottom right. It's 2 materials, including a light monster. And it's also always treated as from the possessed card. It says you can only use this card's name first and second effects once per turn each. So the first effect, you target a light monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your zone that this card points to. So that could be like a Veiler or something like that. So that could be something that you think about. And then also if this card is Link Summon, is destroyed by battle or destroyed by opponent's card effect, while in its owner's monster zone, you get to add a light monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which again, you can add a lot of really great targets with that effect, which is awesome. And then lastly, over here we have the Drake Crown of Mysterion, and here's the artwork. And I love the artwork of this card. This card really looks cool. So it's a new fusion monster, kind of generic. It's a light spellcaster fusion effect, a level 8, 3000 attack, 1500 defense points, and it says it requires a spellcaster monster and a dragon monster. So potentially using Super Poly could be a really good card for making this card. So it says you can only use this card's name second effect once per turn. It cannot be used as fusion material. It loses 100 attack for each of your banished cards, and it says if monster is special summoned by its own activated monster effect or by the activated effect of a monster with the same original type, you can target one of those summoned monsters and banish it and all monsters on the field with the same original type. This could be a huge, like, you know, after you Super Poly, if your opponent goes for some plays to go special summon a lot of stuff, you could maybe have a huge, like, blowout, GG, basically hit him up with a evenly matched, but all of them. I think that this card, again, it's more of a side deck potential card than like, oh, I can think of a deck, main deck it, and it'd be absolutely amazing, but it's kind of conditional for this effect. But against the right matchup, this card could be quite great. But anyways, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up with the YuGiOh cards. Let me know what you thought of them down below. Do you guys think Beartci are going to be any good? I feel like going second with this archetype is going to be really rough, considering you need to activate all these effects, summon the monster, and then they need a lot more protection, I think, to be a lot more viable, because waiting for the trap card to go next turn to start paying life points to add a card back, you're just going to get absolutely obliterated. So I think they need better protection with their monsters, maybe like the field spell or something else needs to be able to protect them, you know, when you go for them. Even though you can go for them during either player's turn, and you're just going to go way too minus, I think, if your plays get disrupted. That's at least my personal thoughts on them. But if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you are new here and do want to see more new YuGiOh cards as well as gameplay of this in the future, hit subscribe, turn that bell, and you'll definitely see it very soon. But take care, guys, and I will catch you on the next video. Have a good one, and I'm out. Peace.